Dorian Walker 71 says, what advice slash prayers slash books would you recommend for someone struggling with full trust in God, specifically related to infertility within a Catholic marriage, although nothing appears to be medically wrong? Well, this is a question I really haven't researched. So infertility is a subcase of the problem of evil. And so the same basic solutions are going to apply to it as apply to other cases of the problem of evil. One wants to do the best one can in the situation. One wants to, to overcome the infertility if possible. So you want to explore all the different avenues that medical science would make available that you can reasonably afford and that, don't have horrendous side effects and that are morally illicit. And there's a bunch of those. There are doctors who specialize in Catholic family planning and helping people have children when they're having difficulties, which I gather is, unfortunately becoming more difficult than it was in the old days. I'm not sure about the statistics on that, but that's at least what I've heard anecdotally. Then, to the extent that the problem cannot be cured or cured anytime soon, I guess I would say, it's like any other form of suffering that a person has. And so reading stuff about the problem of evil, or like I did a talk on the problem of evil a while back that is on my YouTube channel. It's called If God Exists, Why Do I Suffer? And in that, I open up in a way I don't typically about some of my own suffering. And a lot of people have said that they found that video very helpful. So I would suggest watching that. There are other books about the problem of evil that, of a practical nature as opposed to just a philosophical nature that could be helpful. I'd probably go on Amazon and type in something like, where is God when I hurt, or stuff like that. Also, something that occurs to me is there are quite a number of couples in the Bible that deal with infertility. And it starts early. It starts in Genesis. It goes through to the Gospels with Zechariah and Elizabeth in the Gospel of Luke. In these cases, the ones that are mentioned in the Bible, the people ended up having children, sometimes very late in life, but they were able eventually to have children. And, that can be a sign of hope. On the other hand, even if one is not ultimately able to have children, there are these biblical figures that knew the pain of infertility for large periods of their lives. And of course, there were others that, just were infertile, but they tend not to be major biblical figures since we're following family lines through the Bibles. But I would meditate on on these different individuals. They include Abraham and Sarah. They include Jacob and his wife Rachel. They include Hannah, the mother of the prophet Samuel. They include Zechariah and Elizabeth, and there are others. And so I would look to their stories and meditate on them and see if there are any insights into what they experienced that could play a role or be comforting to us today if we're dealing with this problem. Like I remember, at one point Rachel turns to Jacob and she's so frustrated about not having any children when her sister Leah is having she's just popping them out, and Rachel can't even have one, and she's like talking to Jacob, is like, give me children or I'm gonna die. And he's like, am I in the position of the Lord who has closed your womb? I'm trying, but and just the humanness of that situation. I feel for both Rachel and for Jacob there. And so look into their situations and also pray into them. because they did go through this. And so you can think of all of those biblical figures as patron saints of infertility. And you can turn to them and ask them for their intercession as you're pursuing various, medical options for how to encourage fertility. And so those are some of my thoughts on that subject.
And before we go, don't forget to like, comment, share the podcast with others, and subscribe. When you subscribe, hit the bell notification so you always get notified whenever I have a new video. Thank you, and God bless you.